Hello guys, and we're here today with another very awesome video. We're here with Kozmo's post-BOSH. This is going to be post-BOSH, just to look at whether or not Kozmos are going to be good, because Kozmos are dropping in price, they are dropping in popularity, people are rather getting into pendulums, but I just want to stress that Kozmos are still a very good, a very decent deck, and they're going to be even better once they get that new support. The playstyle actually changes a lot once the new support comes out. Not only that, Star Wars just came out, and of course this is Star Wars right here. This looks like some ship from Star Wars I wouldn't be able to name, but we need a Millennium Falcon. That's what we need. We need a Millennium Falcon for Kozmos. But let's just go into the deck profile. We'll go over every card and then I'll talk about the new playstyle change. Dark Eclipser, he can negate a trap card by banishing a Cosmo monster from your graveyard, and that's part of the new change, is that you can have Cosmos in your graveyard now, which is very, very useful. And so Dark Eclipser's negating traps really good, because a lot of people like to side in Mind Crush and Time Space against this deck, so that really helps out. And in the mirror match, negating the Cosmojos, very, very good. But unlike all the other ships, if he is destroyed and sent to grave, you can banish him to add a level 8 or lower Cosmo monster, not summon, which really hurts the deck, not being able to float from him into him pop a monster and just continue floating for days. And then Dark Destroyer, we all know when he is summoned, he'll pop a monster. And if the rest of the ships, if they're destroyed, they will summon out a Cosmo monster that has a lower level than them. Forerunner just cannot be targeted. We're only running one because he doesn't get rid of anything. Yeah, he can be targeted, but neither can Dark Destroyer or Dark Eclipser. So that's really nice. He's a 28 beater and he gains life during your standby phase, which is very, very, very useful for this deck, but I digress. He is not that useful. He's just a beater. He's just a wall, pretty much. And then Slip Rider, he can be targeted, but he can pop back row, which is very, very, very useful. Pop your opponent's pendulums. Just get rid of some of that back row. Just really helps out. And then Delta Shuttle, he will send a Cosmo monster from your deck to your graveyard, and to target a monster on the face of monster field and lose attacking events equal to the sent monster time 100, so you can make them lose a total of 900 by sending a Dark Eclipser. Very useful. I greatly misplay in the duels you see. I was facing a Trishula, Necros Trishula, and I used this against him, and I sent Wicked Witch and it decreased his attack to 23, and I thought it would decrease it by 1900. I thought it was the attack, not the level, so I failed miserably on that. As you guys will see in the duels tomorrow, like I'm awful. I make so many misplays, because there was one time, well, not only did I click activate when I meant to attack with Farm Girl, I did that twice. I did that twice in a row, and it just made me so unhappy. There was just so many misplays, but I still ended up winning most of those duels that you guys will see tomorrow, and it's just kind of funny how awful I did. But was still able to pull a win. Wicked Witch is still very good. We are not winning Good Witch because Good Witch just doesn't do anything anymore. Just like paying 500 to flip a monster doesn't really help all that much. Wicked Witch not being able to be destroyed by paying 1000 is very useful. And then Farm Girl at 3, definitely tag, pay 500, and then add a Cosmo monster. Allows us to go for those OTKs and whatnots. And then Cosmo Sword Troopers or Stormtroopers or Lumina. This card is pretty much a soul charge. You pay 1000 to summon out one monster, and what makes this better is that if you have 2 Sword Troopers in your graveyard, you can summon one and summon out the other Sword Trooper to summon out the other to summon out a Farm Girl or whatever is in your graveyard that is a psychic type Cosmo monster, such as Wicked Witch, Straw Man, or Tin Can. So this guy is very useful. He is very costly. I mean, that's 3000 life to go and summon out all of these, but it is definitely worth it. Straw Man, just summon out one from Banish and it will be destroyed during your end phase. So that is very useful, because we'll then trigger out Cosmo monster effects to summon out one from your deck. So definitely the ones you want to summon are the ships. And then Tin Can. Tin Can you want to open up with. You want to go first, you want to open up with him. It's why we're running 1-for-1 in this deck. It is really, really good. Doing either place, no, that's the wrong effect. If you don't know how Cosmos work, all the low-level monsters, they can banish themselves to summon out one of a higher level, such as the ships. So floaters, and including Tin Can. Tin Can can summon out any of these. Anyways, the effect we care about is pay 500 life points during the end phase. So that means either player's end phase, which is awesome, because if he stays on the field, you get 2 searches by your next turn. So that's awesome. reveal 3 Cosmo cards with different names from your deck. Your opponent randomly picks one and you add it to your hand and then send the rest to the graveyard. So pretty much you want to balance this out with good enough light and dark monsters. I normally try to reveal a Farm Girl and a Sword Trooper, and then something like one of the ships, like a Dark Destroyer. Because they're probably not going to give me the Dark Destroyer, because then I could banish Tin Can and summon out Dark Destroyer and pop something. They don't want to give me the Farm Girl, because Farm Girl is Farm Girl. And Sword Trooper will be able to summon out Farm Girl because the other 2 get sent to the graveyard. So that really sets up your graveyard for the BOS, which I skipped over for a reason, because now that you're sending a whole bunch to your graveyard, now that you have a graveyard, you can summon out BOS in this deck. It is light and it is dark monsters. Really, really helpful, because now that you banish a Farm Girl, you banish a Wicked Witch. Oh, let me use Kozmo Town to add Farm Girl back. So it's just completely open to a whole bunch of combos. But yeah, with this, you just pick out 3 with different names that your opponent doesn't want to see either of them. You're playing Pendulums. Oh, let me add Slip Rider, and then they have to choose between Farm Girl or Sword Troopers or Slip Rider. If they add the Sword Troopers, you're just gonna summon out the Farm Girl, unless they can negate it, in which case they could have negated Farm Girl either way. So it's just really, really strong. This guy being able to do that twice by your next turn if they can't get rid of Tin Can's really good. And yeah, so Tin Can's awesome. You want to open up with them, you want to see them really quickly because he sets up your grave. I mean, it's -3 from your deck, which really helps out with deck thinning and getting you to your spell cards, getting to your trap cards to set up even better plays. And then for some consistency, we're running a lure because we're running 2, 4, that's 7, 10 dark monsters. So that's 1/4 of your deck is dark, which means if you would activate this, you should technically have a 50% chance because you're drawing 2 cards. No, I'm doing math wrong, I think. I don't know, but you should be able to see a dark monster easily enough. There's plenty enough search power and plenty enough draw power with Kozmo Town, so you should have easy enough ability to see dark monsters. 101, of course, sets up your graveyard. Like I said, you ditch 1 to your graveyard for cost for 1 for 1. So it just sets up your graveyard even more, gets rid of like a straw man that you open up with, or maybe a sword trooper you open up with because it's dead if you open up with it. So 1 for 1 is definitely very good. Raigeki, of course, is Raigeki because against pendulums it's not so strong because they can just pendulum summon the monster, but it's still very useful because getting rid of your opponent's monsters and then go summoning out Farm Girl, especially against Pepe, that can just allow you to go for game. You don't have to deal with stuff. The only thing that would be in your way from winning would be a damage juggler. And then 3 reasoning in the deck, definitely a must. There's just so many different stuff. There are a lot of level 3s, but now there's actually a lot that you would want to see. Summoning out Dark Destroyer, like your opponent's probably going to call 8 still because, well, they don't want to see a Dark Destroyer because he's a 3000 beater that pops a monster. But you still have Farm Girl, that's good to see. You still have the Sword Troopers, which would be great to summon out, and then Tin Can is also really good to see as well, summoning out in defense mode. So Reasoning is still very, very useful in the deck. And then 2 Twin Twisters. You can put this card up to 3 if you really want, but I was afraid it would clog too much. Ditch 1 card, target up to 2 spell trap cards on the field, and destroy them. So that's really good, just getting rid of scales, getting rid of whatever, getting rid of back row, and then using Kozmo Slip Rider to pop the scales. Just very, very useful. Getting rid of your opponent's stuff. This is a BOSH card, so of course it isn't legal. And then 2 E-Tallies. I would play this at 3, but at least on DevPro. I don't know if this is a correct ruling or a good ruling. Tin Can cannot use its effect if you summon them up with Emergency Teleport because it's banished during the end phase of this turn. So at the start of the end phase it gets banished. You don't get time to activate Tin Can. I thought he did at first, but he doesn't, which makes me very upset. So I unfortunately had to put Emergency Teleport down to 2. The only 2 targets that you should really be looking at are Farm Girl and Sword Troopers, and if necessary, Strawman is also really good to summon out with Emergency Teleport. So just things to think about. Kozmo Town is still very useful in the deck. You can pop it with Twin Twister because you can pop cards you don't control, and if it is destroyed, you can search for a Kozmo card. But you can target one of your banished Kozmo monsters, return it to hand, lose life points equal to its level times 100, as we all know, and you can shuffle Kozmo monsters into your deck and then draw cards equal to that. So definitely very useful, definitely to help out and to just increase your draw power, so that way maybe you open up with a whole bunch of monsters, okay, now you can get a whole bunch of your trap cards. Cosmojo very, very useful. You can only use one of these per turn, so we're only running 2, but it's still very, very, very useful. It targets a Kozmo monster as cost, which is really good. It's like Tiramisu, it's like Ignister Prominence. It targets a card to destroy it, and then after that, if that resolves and the card it targeted is destroyed, you can banish one card your opponent controls. So you can banish Magi Spectres, you can banish the Pendulums. Really good, and it will trigger your ships to summon out one from your deck, so that is very useful. Just being able to banish something and then still summon out something. So it's like Firelight, you don't go minus, you go plus, because you're using, and it can even help out with your combos. You attack, you summon out a whole bunch of stuff. They still have stuff on their side. If you're Kozmo Joe, pop this guy, summon out something else. Very, very useful. And then Solemn Notice and Solemn Warning. We're only running 2 Notice because this deck is expensive. Not in price, well, it will be expensive in price, but in life points. I mean, this is 5,000 life points right here. 15, 15, 3,000 plus 2,000 is 5,000. That's more than half. And then this is 500 to use during each end phase. So that can cost. This is 500 to use. This is 1,000 to use per. And this is 1,500. So we're talking about just, if you were to activate at least one of each of these monsters' effects, that's 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. That's 35. That you just don't have enough life points to activate all these cards. So life points is very useful, and that's ignoring using Kozmo Town. And Kozmo Town is very important to the deck with its Kozmo. It's like you will run out of life very, very quickly. So you just have to be careful, guys, when playing this deck and the whatnot. This is why Forerunners, it's just so tough with Forerunner, because he's so useful, because if he can stay on the field to your standby phase, that's awesome. Because now you start gaining life, you start going plus, you can start doing even more combos. But he doesn't help you make your plays. He's just a wall. So anyways, let's get into the extra deck, which isn't very that important. The only monster that's even worth mentioning here is Alucard. Because with the Sword Troopers, it's really easy to make. Summon out a Sword Trooper, summon out a Sword Trooper, and then summon out something else, and then boom, Alucard, pop a back row. Just very useful. If you have both of your Strawmans, you can use Centuria. If you have both of your Wicked Witches, you could make a rank 4, but I don't really see the point in doing any of this. You really don't need to. You could make, instead of Pleiades, if you really wanted to. You could actually, post BOSH, you could make Infinity by overlaying these two into Cybernova. Let me just look that up. Yeah, 2 level 5 machine type monsters. So you could make, you can make Nova and then Infinity. So if you want to, you can take out these 2 cards that don't really matter and put it in this guy. So that is something you could do as well, but it's just not really worth it all that much, in my opinion. But yeah, the extra deck, it's not that important. If you can do it, go ahead, but you're losing out, because I mean, if you make an Infinity, you're just, congratulations, you've lost your floaters. And more than likely, you're not going to have 2 of the same on the field. So that's kind of difficult to do, so it's not really that important. I wouldn't stress having an extra deck at all. Like, the only card I stress would be an Alucard. The only other card that I could kind of recommend and see doing is maybe, oh god, what's it called? It's the rank 9. I don't want to look it up. It does burn damage, I believe. See, you can make it with Dark Eclipse. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Tell me guys what you think of Cosmos. Tell me guys what you think of the set of BOSH and the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! With Pendulums coming out and everything else. Well, Pendulums are already out, but coming out and being in full force post BOSH. So, hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.